Hey, let's not sugarcoat it because that's what they've been doing to you. They've been sugarcoating it. And last week we cracked the box open, and there's no pun intended there. But on what's really hiding in our food, and that's what we did last week. We kind of opened the lid and looked at what's going on in our everyday products. Now it's time to put that awareness into motion. And if you're reading labels and it feels like you're reading ancient hieroglyphics, you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
You're not alone. And see, I can't even say that word. I wanted to say that, but you can't even say that word. And that's what it is on some of the labels that we're reading. And it's like you got to be a detective, and you got to be an investigator, and you got to be a lawyer, and you got to be all kinds of have medical degrees behind to read what that word is. And maybe some of the food that you're reading those labels on, it kind of sounds like you're eating a science experiment, a science project, and you're putting that in your body. Well, today we're going to flip the labels. And I mean, we're really going to flip the labels. And I've got my own thing that I'm going to share at the end. So this is not only going to be encouraging, but humorous. And it's the things that we anticipate that are there, that aren't there, and things that we anticipate aren't going to be there, but they are there because they sneak them in. So today we're going to simplify this, and we're going to get behind this label madness and show you how to make some clean swaps without panic. And this is a way to help you and create a new standard without the need to have a PhD behind your name or a PhD in food chemistry. Most of us have left biology class and chemistry class, but we shouldn't be eating the things that we were making in those test tubes. So, here's the idea. If you want to be the kind of person, and I know you do, that doesn't settle for less just because it's a common practice, and if you're looking at the back of your granola bar and it reads like a pharmaceutical brochure, well, it's time to level up. Because here's the truth. If you knew what was in it, would you still eat it? Would you begin to stop trusting the marketing and start trusting yourself? This episode isn't about fear. It's about fuel. It's about fuel for your mind, fuel for your body, and fuel for your future. So let's raise the standard. Welcome to the Fueled Life podcast. Charlie, I am excited that you're here, man, and I am excited to get into this.
Yes. Well, I was thinking the front of things, the part they want you to see, is always very colorful. It's attractive. It's larger print. It wants to, oh, what's that? Has a little yellow, whatever it might be, but it wants to stop you. And in a short moment, tastes great, less filling. Now, that was beer, but it's something like that. And maybe it does taste great, and maybe it is less filling. So what does that mean? That means you can drink more. That's great.
Yeah.
But
feeling.
Yeah. So what, and then so we go throughout the aisles and throughout the quick checkouts, and and that's how we're doing it. And we're watching people around us, and we're going to functions, and they have a break, and all out on the tables are the different types of bars and all those things you were talking about, Stanley, and muffins and things. And I just go with the flow. But as you come into the Fueled Life and you start questioning and become curious, maybe I'm going to turn that over. And my first step is, I don't understand this stuff. So I flip it back to the front. I get that. Tastes great. Less filling. Let's eat it.
Right.
Okay. But I'm still a little curious because I'm, 40 plus, 50 plus, and I'm starting to, there's Stanley, you and I, we talk a lot about joints, not marijuana ones. And we talk about our body joints. We talk about inflammation. We talk about the skin issues. We talk about dragginess throughout the day or in the afternoons. We talk about not feeling thriving in the morning, kind of slowly getting going and hitting the coffee as fast as we can. And, you just start having some thoughts. Really? Is this really age related? life sucking, you
Right.
know, and that's what we're here to talk about. Flip that thing over and, get curious and start Googling and looking up things.
Yeah, when we gave our power over to trust the brands instead of our brain, when we look at the fancy picture, it's kind of like buying a book because the cover looks really, really attractive, and you get that book home and it's like boring or totally not your vibe. And your body, this is what happens when we trust a label or marketer rather than our own critical thinking and go, wait a minute, why does it take this fancy picture to get my attention? Why does it take this animated ship captain with all these colorful little circles and squares, and there's more colorful circles and than there are the little squares, and they call it crunch berries, and we think that that's amazing. We want to be the captain of our own ship, but we're not. We're actually becoming the the, the barnacle on the bottom of that boat and just eating the junk that wasn't intended for us to eat. And we get attached to something and we don't even know what we're getting attached to until later on in life. And that's where we lose our power, and then we start asking questions. Why do I feel this way? Why does Charlie always seem like he's on the up and up? I mean, why can't I be more like Charlie? Why can't I have his energy? What is Charlie doing differently than that I'm not doing? And that's when we start looking at those labels.
And that's also, I love seeing people older than me, whatever the case may be, that are they're in shape, they're vibrant, their skin is glowing, they're healthy, they're happy, they could face life's challenges better. And my brother-in-law, on his 70th birthday, to celebrate his 70th birthday, he pulled out his road bike and pedaled 70 miles.
That's awesome.
So, that inspires me. It's like, wait, I'm 58, 60, 12 years. I could easily go and ride 70 miles. Wow. Sign me up for that plan of action. How can I, if I'm not there, how can I get there? And that's by flipping over, by reading the back of things and starting to educate yourself on. And Stanley, we always talk about yucca, and again, you don't have to, you don't need to understand, because as soon as you start to learn some of these words, they change them. Right. When there's an article or there's attention brought to a product, something that sells really well, and somebody uncovers the truth about a couple of those words that are very complex,
Right.
Then they change the word. I mean, there are no dummies that are packaging and jamming those chemicals into those beautiful looking packages.
Yeah. The front, if we equate this, the front equals marketing and the back of the box equals the truth. So it is what's sandwiched in between the marketing and the truth that they package their food. And if we'll just flip the box over, and it doesn't take that much effort. I mean, it's just 180 degrees. It's pretty simple. And start looking at the labels, the first 5 labels, the first 5 words in that label. If you can't pronounce it, that's an indicator that there's something there that may not be on the front of the box. It says natural flavors. Well, what is that natural flavor? Is that a gnat that just ate part of your banana and it ended up in the cereal box? I mean, that's a natural flavor. Okay. And there's some other natural flavors that I could mention, but I'm not going to, because I'm going to be etiquetely presenting today. So, what are those natural flavors? Are you really wanting them? That's my question.
Right. So now I've gotten more curious, and I start to say, "You're telling me this nature way or whatever, nature way. Oh, that means it's the way of healthy nature or low fat. Oh, well, that's great because I'm 58, and for years it was all about take that fat out of your diet, man. It's killing you. It's causing your heart attacks when it wasn't at all. Now they've uncovered the truth. Has nothing to do with that. Has everything to do with the low fat thing you're eating because of the chemicals and the different things in it. And, you know, I just, again, I got inspired by seeing people that were older, 10, 12, 15 years older. And I'm like, I'm faking that I feel that good. Well, what am I doing wrong? What are you doing? And then I started getting curious and reading and learning. And the best part was, it's not the knowledge that helps me or fixes me. It's the application. It's the experience. It's the results of trying some new things. And it's not easy. I'm not going to lie. It's simple. Just don't eat it. Not so easy because they formulate it so you don't get to break away from it that easy because your brain, they put chemicals into it that fire up those neurons that say, give me more.
Right. So I got a loaded question. If it didn't have a label, would you eat it?
Yes.
Absolutely. And the reason is because imagine if you go to the store, or let's say you just go out to your orchard and you pull an apple down and it doesn't have a label. But what it is, it's contains sugar, contains fiber, and it's actual life force. That would be like the label that you would find on it. But when a box of crackers needs a full-blown novel to explain what's inside, maybe that's the red flag. Maybe we should start shifting to the no label challenge, the no label products, and start eating more of those. I go and buy a head of lettuce. And what if it had a label? It'd say contains lettuce, contains water. These are the things that my body already knows what to do with it. It doesn't need a PhD to break it down.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a good point, Stanley. It's like we talk all about packaged material. Now, yes, there's fruits and vegetables and healthy meats and all sorts of stuff that's packaged. And that's just so we don't have to carry it out in our hands. But if you're going up and down the aisles and you're constantly, a jar of sauce. Oh, there's so many toxins in sauces. I had no idea. Heinz ketchup was loaded with high corn fructose. Hasn't been in my house since 2007. And your body adapts. So you eat the new ketchup that is pure, it's healthy, and you find out that it tastes a little funny at first. It's like, what's missing? Sugar.
Right.
But then I have tried Heinz ketchup I don't use much ketchup, very rarely, because I don't eat French fries, whatever. But I use hot sauce instead. But I dipped in that stuff and I'm like, ew. It's so funny how moving away from was a bit weird and uncomfortable, but you said it. Our body knows what to do with that.
Right.
And it aligns with our taste buds, our neurons and all that good stuff. So the body says, thank you. And then I go to put the other stuff back in and it says, no, that's well, I'm like, whoa, that is so sugary. It's so gross. And I do like sugar. I like ice cream. I'm no saint. Right. But I have woke up to, I am choosing now. I am no longer, my head is not buried in the sand. I am not living in denial. I'm not blaming my age. I am totally responsible. And I know when I'm putting garbage in. There's no excuses. It's not like I had to, that somebody had a gun to my head. I chose to go to this restaurant and eat, because you know what I mean? Like the jig is up.
Yeah, you brought up the sugar free and the light. Um, uh, Tastes great and light. What was that? Oh,
Less
that
filling.
tastes great and less filling. Yes, and that was because it was, everybody knows the brand of beer that was, and if you don't, it was light. But anyway, that was like a strategy. As far as like you could put this in your body and it was light, it tastes great, and it was less filling, and it was natural. And you read these labels that say sugar free, but these are often code for chemical cocktails. See, if it sounds too good to be true, then there's probably an asterisk beside those worthy or worthy-less labels, ingredients. And this isn't to make you paranoid. It's just to make you product smart. And I'm going to share this. I was blown away by what I'm going to share at the end. And I don't want to give it away. I'm just kind of giving you a little heads up. This is funny. It's funny because when we think we're making the right decisions based on the decisions that we've made in the past, and they change it, and they change the words, and they change the ingredients, and they say new and improved. Well, what does improved mean? It just means we want to make you sicker faster. That's what it means. Improve for who? The sick care system that we support. When did we stop reading ingredients and start trusting buzzwords? Like gluten-free and low fat and all natural. We traded that for branding. When do you think that shift? When did you see it in your life? Do you remember?
No, I was a kid.
Yeah. It was subliminal. I mean, it was like you just walked by one day and all of a sudden that label said healthier choice, right?
Yep.
Low fat, new and improved formula. That's what I want to call it, a formula.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Stanley, these are the Ray-Ban Meta glasses.
Right.
And I was they just sent a new update. In this update, you can put them on in the grocery store and say, I'm making lemon chicken organic. You tell it what you want. Will you please help me find all the ingredients? And it helps navigate you around the store so you can get
amazing
what I want to eat healthy. So I emailed Yucca because they have now applications that you can partner with your glasses. So when you're wearing them, you can say, hey, Meta, open Yucca. And then with your glasses, you don't need to pull out your phone. You don't need to do anything. And you would scan, and then it would say what it says. It would read it to you through the arms of the glasses. Then you can say, can you provide me some healthy choices and tell me where they are?
That is awesome.
If you don't want to get healthy, that's fine. But we can't do it for you. No one's gonna. Right. But now there's a pair of glasses that are on your team, and they're inexpensive, and AI is exponentially growing over. And I think it's going to make a big disruption to the food world because it's going to open the eyes of people. I had to work so hard in the beginning to understand this because there were no apps when I was doing this that was helping me. There were some books, and then there weren't even podcasts really back in 2006 when I started doing this. And I started going like, how do you learn this stuff? Then I would go to the internet and type in one word, and I couldn't even understand the description.
Right.
So
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say the simple rule of thumb back then was if there's more than 5, don't eat it.
Yeah. Yeah. And if it ends in oxide, there's another indicator. Charlie, and I know you love vehicles, you love cars. You're a car guru, and so I have to ask you, if orange soda was on sale, and it kind of looks similar in color to gasoline, but it was on sale. Would you put that in your vehicle? Because I mean, it looks good. It looks similar and it's cheaper. I mean, gas here is still up into the $3 a gallon. So, soda pop, you can get a more than a gallon for less than $2. I mean, why wouldn't you put that in your vehicle? And yet you put it in your other vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah. That one that will put you in the driver's seat of the other one. I would put it in my Tesla. Maybe in the windshield wiper washer fluid. Yeah, I know, Stanley. And you know what would kill the gas powered motor is the sugar in Sunkist or whatever those orange sodas are. Gosh, there was a neighbor here yesterday. In her house, she has no soda, and she has 2 young children, 11 and 8, and they don't drink soda, and they don't miss it. But of course, when they go out and their friends, and the mother was saying, it's like, gosh, why don't we have soda in the house? Well, because soda has a lot of sugar and other toxins in it that isn't good for your mind and your body.
Right.
And it's like, when I'm 11, I don't know, what is my mind and body? I don't care.
Exactly.
I want soda because my friends drink it and then they tease me. It's not easy, but obviously the body can do a much better job at breaking this down and disposing of the toxins we put in our body. But where it affects the kids is ADD, ADHD, depression, all those things that kids are getting whacked with, and the grades and the attention in the classroom. That's all sugar spikes. These kids are getting up with usually not enough sleep. And then their parents are giving them waffles with butter and syrup and crap, all of it. And then they're giving them cereal. Oh, yum, yum, with milk. And I mean, sugar through, and a glass of orange juice. They're at more sugar in 2 bites of cereal than in the 20s that a human did all day long. I mean, and our bodies don't know what to do with this. So, and then we're jacked. I remember. And then the school lunch, I mean, it is. But I believe, I don't mean to be so negative, but wake up. Start looking at what are your kids, because that sugar is affecting their brain.
I know it.
Now,
one of the big things that I wish that pediatricians would ask is, what are you feeding your kid? Because you really want health. Ask them, what are you feeding your kids? What are you putting on the table? What are you putting within their reach? What are you putting within their grasp? And, that's a whole nother soapbox. So I won't even go on that. But, when we have to ask this question, why is it that food that's made in a lab that lasts for 2 years and it still somehow costs more than a cucumber? Now, shelf life for 2 years is cheaper than that grows naturally. Why is that? Because the longer that shelf life has, the shorter it might be fueling your life.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I love when people start waking up and it's not theory, it's the truth.
Right.
The creator created us to eat off the earth. And there are potato chips that are potato, avocado oil, sea salt. So make a shift. And then also don't bring the bag with you. Somebody told me, just put some on a napkin and then have a few. Move from bread to make your own bread, or there are like spinach, there are wraps that aren't made with white flour. I mean, once the shift starts to happen, you'll go, I didn't know all this stuff was in the grocery store, because you can find healthier things.
Right.
And then you might meet somebody in that aisle who's on the same journey, and you got a new buddy. And you can say, so what is it that you do? How do you approach this? You know? And then when I have people over the house, I talk about it. You know, I notice when we have functions and we say, bring some hors d'oeuvres, it's like, are you kidding me? The crap. And now I'm going to start saying, you know, bring hors d'oeuvres, but no crap. I mean, I'm not, but you know, then you have a neighbor that makes a bean, cucumber, something type of salad for the organic avocado oil, multigrain, but a healthy option, healthier. You know, it's possible. That's the beautiful thing. And it isn't that hard, because in the old days, or even a year ago, it's like I heard well, then what can I eat? What can I eat? Because you fall victim to the belief that there is no other way possible. I have to do what I'm doing. And it's just because it's a habit. It's the easiest. And, but the disruption of a doctor, a heart problem, pre-diabetes, aches and pains, and you finally had enough. I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. And you'll watch a podcast like this and you go, holy, I can do something about this.
Yeah. And this isn't just about health. Okay. It is about your power. It's about your energy, and it's about your freedom, because every bite that we take, it's either fighting disease or it's feeding disease. And here's a statement, and I want to say this: the one thing that we all wish that we had more of is our health. And when we're young, we think we have 1,000 things that we want, but when you don't have your health, there's only one thing that you want, and that would be your health. And every label that we flip, every time we vote with our dollar, every time that we choose to support an entity that is destroying us, that is just adding fuel to a fire that is destroying your home. This is the greatest home. They can take away the building, they can take away the windows and the rooms, but what I'd be left with at the end of the day is this house that I live in. And if I'm not bringing in good fuel, I'm not going to have the abundant life that I was intended to have. And so that's why this matters. Maybe you're feeling off. Maybe you're feeling tired for no reason, a little foggy, a little frustrated, and craving things that you don't even understand why your body is craving. And maybe you're not even responding the way that you normally did. And you go to the pantry and you're looking and you're looking and you're looking and you're just craving something. Well, that's your body trying to run on this empty fire, consuming. And we blame our schedules, we blame our age, we blame our willpower, but these are the addictive chemicals that are put in the products that, unless we become aware of it, we are really unaware. And then that's the real reason why we feel stuck, scattered, or sluggish. So your food is controlling your mood. It's controlling your focus. It's controlling your future. And this isn't surface level issue. This is across the board. This is about your ability to show up in life and be fully present. So, it's about trusting yourself again. It's about you taking the initiative and going, I'm not going to look at the marketing anymore. I'm going to look at the label, and I'm going to decide what's in this. And I'm going to tune in instead of checking out. Now, here's where it's time to act. And what I wanted to do was, if you can take a moment and maybe you'll come back to this part in this episode. This is a real-time pantry raid challenge. Okay. So if you can go to your pantry real quick, maybe you're in your kitchen right now, you're watching this, maybe you're driving and you got a snack beside you. All right. Take a look at it. And Charlie and I talk about this all the time, the Yucca app. And, just grab something random and take a look at the label. And what does it say? And I don't care if it's your favorite snack. And here I'm gonna be very transparent here today. And that's why I've been kind of having a smile on my face over this whole episode, is because when you flip the label around, you look at those first 5 ingredients. Do you know what's in it? Can you pronounce it? And would my grandmother be cooking with it? So that's the question. All right. So take a moment to do that. Charlie, do you have any products that are handy? Kind of gave you kind of a heads up. Okay, well, I do.
I got nothing around me.
You have nothing around
that I can eat.
Okay. So one of my favorite pleasures, food-wise, is once a year or twice a year, I will treat myself to something that I know isn't on the up and up. Okay, but it's got sugar in it, but it's made with no GMO kernels, nothing. There's no chemicals on it whatsoever. And it is made by the company Garrett Popcorn. I love Garrett Popcorn. It is the world's finest popcorn, and they'll ship it anywhere. Well, it's $35 for a gallon can, right? Well, guess what? Costco has Garrett Popcorn in the bag.
Nice.
$8.95. And I'm thinking, $8.95? There's more than a gallon worth in this bag. So I had my kids pick some up for me, right? And I opened up the one bag, and I'm like, this doesn't taste the same. It's got a different feel to it. It's got a different texture. There's something different. So I flip it around and I scan it with Yucca. Guess what it comes up with?
62.
0 out of 100. I'm like, drop the mic, right? Shut the front door.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, well, wait a minute. I know what the ingredients are from the company. Why does it have look at this list. This is the ingredients all the way down to here. And I'm like, what the heck is this? So I called the company and I said, hey, I need some clarification. I'm doing a podcast tomorrow, and I've got this bag of Garrett popcorn, but it doesn't look like it comes from your plant. And it's got a lot of crap in here that I don't think your normal product does. She said it doesn't. That's not from us. It is our name, but it is made in a different area. And the reason they put preservatives in it to keep it shelf stable. Get out of here, right? Then they started getting a little nervous. And they're like, well, what are you going to use your podcast for? And I said, well, I'm just doing a demystification on products and how we can take our power back, and how sometimes we buy a product that we're used to, but then it may have a name that has been produced somewhere else so that it can be put on the shelf. And this is like the first time that they've been doing this. They've been putting this in a bag. And I'm thinking, never buying that again. And I'm not going to be eating it. It'll be going in the trash. And the thing of it is you say, well, why don't you just eat it? No, I'm not going to eat it, because why would I not put the good fuel into my body? This was a lesson learned. I would rather feel better about not consuming any more of it than consuming what I purchased. It's just not worth it. But that's my own thing. And I had my kids pick it up. They were at Costco, and I said, if they've got that Garrett popcorn, pick me up 3 bags of it, because I just love that stuff. And I didn't know how big the bags were. And when they brought it home, I was like, oh my gosh, that's incredible. Well, I got fooled. So this is just to go to show you that, when you take your life into your control, you can make better choices.
Big time. And Stanley, so you called them and they said it isn't theirs?
It is made with a different process. So it is it's their recipe, but they have to add other chemicals to it to make it shelf stable. And let me just tell you what Yucca shared with me of what was in it, and I can pull it up and tell you. Let me go back here to history, and when okay, so the additives are disodium phosphate, high risk, silicon dioxide, sodium phosphate. It contains phosphorus, a mineral whose current intake exceeds recommendation and whose excess could disrupt bone mineralization and have harmful effect on kidneys and increase the risk of cardiovascular disease. Now, listen, I'm 62 and I want to be vibrant when I'm 92. And putting that crap into my body is like putting orange juice into my gas tank just because it's cheaper. I'll spend the $35 and I'll buy the good stuff from the original supplier. And, you know, it has none of the preservatives in it. So if you don't eat it in a certain amount of time, it goes bad. And that's where the difference comes in. So
that's a clue. That means it's good food.
Yeah. And, you know, hey, I got fooled. If it's too good to be true, it is. Yeah. You know, when it's $8.95 for over a gallon and it normally costs $35, there's an indicator that something is going south. And I don't want it to be me. I want to stay above the daisies and the dandelions.
And you want to eat them.
That's right.
So that's why you earn the name Standalone. But that's too bad that a company that was bowed down to that just for money. That's too bad. And I would say, you know, you're going to lose me as a customer. I'm not going to vote anymore with my dollar because you guys have now jumped in with the other slimes. Yeah. And you didn't even you know, Costco could have said, we want your popcorn, but you got to make it this way. We don't know the truth, but you got to have values. You got to have a way to say, no way, we're going to do it the way we do it. We're never going to bow down to that, because I couldn't dare sell things or work in a diner or some dump and provide food or a product to people that I know is going to kill them. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another problem I have is that we do this darn thing on the East Coast right before lunch. And every time I hear that bag, I'm like, let's end, please. I'm hungry. You know, that noise. And that's another thing, that crinkle noisy thing. If my dog, if I crinkle something, he says, oh, what do you got there? So, are those my cookies? Well, it's the same with our brain. We hear that noise.
Yep.
And our brain goes, what do you got?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly. So this is a mindset shift. It's not about restriction. It's about reclaiming your power. It's about replacing what's not refueling. So if you're somebody that eats what's convenient, you don't want to be that way anymore. You want to be a person that is making conscious choices and creating that shift. And maybe you're not going to do it all at once. I'm not asking you to go, you know, crazy in your pantry and throw everything out, but maybe I am. That's up to you. That's your decision, not mine. But when you make the shift, it starts to create a fueled life. And that's what this is all about. So, Charlie, do you have anything that you'd like to close with, my friend?
No, I'm inspired. You know, that's why I like to continue to keep on top of this stuff and to notice when a company does want to make more profits and they take away something and add something,
right?
And to you know, and I want to know that. I don't want to be fooled, because they don't care. But on the flip side, there's so many good companies out there that would never,
yeah,
you know. So
yeah,
join us and get some good premium fuel going today.
And I'm still going to eat Garrett popcorn
Good.
once in a while. Okay. That's not what we're saying. We're just saying that I'm making healthier choices. I'm making better decisions, and I'm making informed decisions. And that's what we're here to help you do. So until we meet the next time, have a fueled life and live outstanding. And we'll see you on the next podcast.